It's, by the way, for those of you guys that are watching that are a little slightly techie, I was using StreamYard for the past couple of years, and they jacked up the rates on us. So I found this competitor that's completely free at this tier. It's pretty nice.
Restream.
Restream,
What's
restream.io.
what are the limitations on it?
You can only simulcast to two. Like so, where I used to put, we used to go live on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube,
Right.
but really all of our audience is on either Facebook or YouTube. So, um, so we just do those two now. So
Nice.
yeah,
Got to go where the people are.
that's right, man.
All five of them.
All five of the peeps.
Dude,
Okay.
I'm kind of glad that we skipped last week because I feel like there wasn't all that much going on. But this week, especially if you're into Texas politics, it's a crazy week. Like
Yeah,
there's
man.
so much nonsense happening. We got to talk about it.
Well, let's do it, man. So this is one of my favorite topics. I am staunchly against what is going on here. Uh, so yeah, so go for it.
Wait, which one are you against?
I'm just against this. I think one of the biggest problems, if not the biggest problem in politics, is this gerrymandering. Um,
Oh,
it just in general, as a matter of principle, it is, you know, it defeats the entire purpose of representative government. So like we the idea and the way most people think it works is you have a representative that represents your area, and then you have two senators that represent you at a statewide level, right?
which is
Those
still
people are
your area, but sort of
still
zoomed out.
zoomed out, right?
Yeah,
And all this goes back to, we don't need to do a massive detour, but I mean, way back in the day, right before
the
we were a
founding
country,
fathers.
right? We were sovereign states, and when we won our independence from Great Britain, it was basically like, look, uh, we're Georgia, we pick cotton, we got slaves, we're going to do our thing, and Massachusetts, like, slavery is illegal, and we're patriots, and we, import export, right?
We're
But we're
not
not
doing
doing
that.
that. And so every state kind of had their own rules, and so when they wanted to create the federal government, it was like, okay, well, there are 13 colonies, and I think the provision was if they could get 8 of the state governments to ratify the Constitution, then the remaining 5 would be obligated to go along. And
Mhm.
it was kind of this dance of like, you think about, like, okay, you're a huge business owner in Georgia, let's say, and so you've got slaves, you got a plantation, you got the whole thing, you got a machine working, and then you're part of the crew that is designating, like, okay, these 5 of our people are going up to Philadelphia to negotiate with these Yankees. I mean, like, it is, and so the types of compromises they had to cut. Um, obviously we don't need to go into all the shortcomings of what they put together, but what they put together was actually really cool. It's basically to say, okay, we honor the states are sovereign, and we're only giving up certain, it's called enumerated rights in my law school, my brief tour through law school. Enumerated rights means
Only this
this
stuff.
document, the Constitution, gives the federal government these rights, right? The executive has these functions, the Congress has these functions, and the judiciary has these functions. And if it's not in the Constitution, it belongs to the states. The states get it because that they were only giving up these rights. And today we don't look at it that way. Today we look at, hey, it's a country, and I mean, it doesn't really matter. Mississippi, Georgia, Alabama, California.
Well, to be fair, a lot of the stuff was settled, changed during the Civil War. So the country, as far as the way we think of it as a union of states, these United States versus the USA as the title of a
Mhm.
country, really changes because of what
Right,
happens at the Civil
right.
War.
And so anyway, but the whole idea is that, in representative government in general, is that, okay, I live in this neighborhood, and so I have, on the local level, maybe I have a city council person, I can elect a mayor. That's a state level, right? There's a region that I live in, that so I have a representative and I have a state senator. Um, and then on the national level, right? we also have a representative we're going to send to Congress to like advocate for North Austin here. But in reality, that's
Right.
not what happens. When in reality, what happens, and so the people of North Austin would elect their representative, and that person might totally disagree with the representative from, you know, uh, El Paso, who might totally disagree with the representative from Texarkana. But the Texarkana guys representing the
Yeah.
Texarkana people, and the Laredo guys representing the Laredo people. Right?
Yeah. Well, and it may turn out that the South Dallas people and the North Austin people think really alike, and they form kind of alliance, and they work
That's
to
right.
co-author bills and so on.
And in that scenario, right, the voters would pick the politicians to represent them. They say, okay, this is the guy that we want representing us, or the gal up in Washington. So that is absolutely not what happens in modern American politics. So what happens in modern American politics is you slam a supercomputer at the demographic tables and you figure out, okay, what is the and now with AI and all these different, I mean, like it's child's play. It's like, what is
It's
the
amazing.
we're Republicans and we're in control of this state. What is the most advantageous way that we can draw? We have 42 seats or 47 seats, whatever it is. We want 47 seats. The maximum number of these seats we want to be Republican leaning, safe Republican seats. Create that map. And it literally,
Yeah.
you'll see districts that go from like the Rio Grande River up to Plano, and it's like,
Yeah.
how is that like the person representing that strip is no way are they able to represent the constituents of that district. It's a joke.
Well, there's no meaningful way that is a here, I'm going to show you. I'm going to send you
Well,
something here.
well,
There's no
while you're looking
there's
that up. Yeah.
here you go. Here, look at this one. So this is an example. This is an example from Illinois. So I don't know if you can
You got to share it in here.
bring it up for our audience. So this is the uh, um, so this is the same issue but in reverse. So a state that has a Democrat control, the way they've drawn the map. This is Illinois. There's this one district that's kind of notorious, the 13th district, that is a 170-mile long strip of land that connects part of St. Louis up through Springfield and Decatur, and and it's just like this little tiny strip that there's no rational way you can look at this and say, well, this is a natural district. These are neighbors. They
Right.
all sort of think alike. The goal behind this little carve out is that carve out is going to vote blue, and we don't want those blue votes to be diluted or distributed out among the other neighborhoods that they might be in. And so this way you get a nice, safe Democrat seat. So Illinois has a I'm trying to I was looking this up earlier just as an example. California has, okay. Yes. All right. So Illinois has 44% in 2022. 44% of the popular vote in Illinois was Republican. So a minority, but a very large one, 44%. And they have 18% of the seats. So the natural number of seats that they would have is cut in half by this district map.
That's right. And
Right.
it happens in reverse. So what they're about to do in Texas, for example, is they're going to, I mean, you might have in Texas is pretty purple. You might have a 6-4 Republican to Democrat, but I mean, that's
Sure.
being very generous to the Republicans. So if it's 6-4, you should have 60% of the seats should be Republican, 40% if it's a fair map and if whatever. And it's
so
it won't be
6
at
to
all.
4. By the way, 6-4 is California. California is 60% Democrat, 40% Republican, but Republicans have 17% of the seats, so less than half. And they're talking about pushing it even further to get an additional 5 seats, so that 40% becomes something more like 12%.
If Texas proceeds, which they will, then that's what they're threatening.
Well, so just kind of put all this stuff in context. Texas already has a map that disfavors Democrats based on the popular
Right.
vote. And so the issue is not whether or not they have
It's
it,
how bad
but
is it?
can they make it even
Right.
more
Right. Right. And of
disfavorable?
course they can, because we have computers. And it's like, it's
Well, no, there are limits. There are limits, though, because at some point, if you draw the map, in order to get as many seats as possible, those seats are not going to be as solid in one category as they otherwise would be. And so there's always a risk that if you do too much, if there's like a wave election, a bunch of those safe
they're
seats
not
suddenly
safe as,
become
yeah,
unsafe.
okay.
It is a risk, but not the risk is mostly an optical risk. How angry are
An
people going to
optical
be?
risk. I love it.
Are people going to look at this and be like, "That's
That
stupid.
is
That's
wrong.
wrong. That's
Well,
undone."
yeah, they're not
Yeah.
even pretending. I mean, they don't even have a public service angle on this one. I mean, they're just like, yeah,
Mm.
we need more seats.
Need
Yeah,
more
yeah,
seats.
we
Yep.
can. That's why we're doing. Why are you doing that? Because we can. Because we can.
Okay.
That's right.
It's in the law. Well, and I think what will happen almost certainly. So just to kind of catch people up, and I'm very curious to see how this story ends. We've got another couple weeks before this the current special session
Mm,
ends, and in Texas we don't have a filibuster like there is in the House. Certainly doesn't have a filibuster the way the U.S. Senate does, and so our functional equivalent is for the members of the House to simply flee the
that's
state.
right.
So
That's right.
if you're not in the state, then it's like, well, we can't vote,
Yep.
because there's not enough people here. So as long as you don't have a 2/3 majority, like you could theoretically, at some future date, have a 2/3 majority of the state house be one party or another, in which case they could just ignore. It's like, oh yeah, please leave. Doesn't matter. But since we're not in that situation, if enough Democrats leave the state, they can't vote on
That's right.
anything. So the whole thing just stops. And the special session ends at a particular point, and so when it ends, maybe the governor calls another one, maybe not. The funny part is that the governor of Illinois, place it's all gerrymandered all to hell in the other direction. He's like, we need to put a stop to this injustice, and
Right.
so we're gonna give safe haven to the
Right.
Texas,
Yeah. I
fighting
saw
for
that.
for voting equality. It's like, oh yeah,
Yep.
great. So anyway, it's a wonderful bit of drama, and then of course the governor is really upset, and the attorney general is even more upset. But the attorney general in Texas, for those of you who aren't from here, he's kind of a known psychopath.
Yeah.
Um, uh, I mean, even the people that like what he does are like, yeah, the dude's crazy. So they're like, this might be a felony,
Mhm.
and we're gonna see if we can arrest them. They're trying to get the FBI involved to go up to Illinois and get them. And it's like, well, why? I mean, they haven't committed any crimes, and so there's a there's a potential reading of one of these laws about like dereliction of duty or whatever, to where this could be a felony, which means people who even donated to them, like, hey, we're going to buy you coffee while you're away. Here's a meal on
Mhm.
us so that you're not, since you're away from home, right, or something, that could be prosecutable as aiding and abetting a felony in progress. So they're talking
What?
about like trying to arrest, they're like, we could arrest the donors if they,
Oh my
if we find
gosh.
out that they helped them. Yeah. So I think a lot of that is saber rattling, especially since it'll take months, if not years, to get the appeals process for a felony indictment or conviction, and then all the other stuff. So by that time, this issue is over, and it would look really bad. It's like, hey, we're out there arresting our political
Mhm.
opposition. Maybe you could get away with that in places that are really hard right or hard left, like West Virginia, which has an extremely high Republican
Mhm.
majority. Maybe they would be like, yeah, screw them. It's but Texas, I think, it's got too many. It's too much of a mix. That would energize a lot of voters if they're out there arresting Democrat lawmakers. Um, but maybe that's what they'll do. Like I said, our attorney general is sort of a well-known
He is.
psycho.
He's a
So
psycho.
maybe they will. I'll tell you though, if you're a Democrat wanting to run for office in Texas, you're really hoping that they get arrested.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Like
The
that would be the
grandstanding is
best
the best.
possible
Yeah,
move.
exactly.
Well, it would become a national issue for everyone. Like the amount of money that would get poured into Democrat coffers from across the country if the governor arrests members of the Texas
Hmm.
House. That would be just, I mean, it'd be the most amazing thing ever. Like you're just sitting there, please, please arrest them, but they probably won't. Like I said, there's no way to do that. But as a result, the slim to none chance that there was going to be some flood relief stuff that gets put through the special that's probably not going to happen. The THC ban that the Senate is hell bent on trying to push through somehow, even after the governor vetoed it the
So
first time.
ridiculous.
Very little chance that, well, it probably is not going to happen now because, unless we get like a second special session, third special session. But I think that the Democrat lawmakers, because this one is so egregious, this particular gerrymander, and because it's mid census, it was specifically spoken of by Trump as like, we need 5 more seats. That it also could trigger a whole bunch of retaliatory gerrymanders. So Newsom in California has already said that if Texas does this, California will do the same thing
That's
in the other
right.
direction. So
That's
it's
right.
like, you're not going to get the 5 seats. Like you might get the 5
Right.
seats out of Texas, but you're just going to lose them out of California. So you don't really gain anything by doing this. It basically just starts a gerrymandering arms race,
Hmm.
which I don't think anybody really wants. I'm trying to think of who that would benefit. I think it would just make everybody upset. Everyone's now angry,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah.
because it's not just like, well, the census, we got to do it, and you know, it's going to advantage somebody.
Why?
What do you want us to
Yeah.
do? Like
Yeah. How
it,
can we
it,
not do it
this is
ourselves? You know.
this is clearly would be an escalation move.
Well, but they're already
So
out there with it. So I mean, I don't think they care. This crowd, and I've made this comment multiple times, but this crew seems to have a very. They seem to be very certain that they're never going to be out of power. You know, because the stuff that they're doing, like they would not want the Democrats to have the same access to the same levers that they're pulling. And so
but
I just. Mm.
Eric, I I was saying the same stuff about the Biden administration.
Well,
Like,
you were right.
why would you why would you form a
Dude,
ministry of truth within the
you were right.
DHS?
We're both right. Like obviously, like all of this talk about like lawfare is immoral and look what they're doing to us, and it's like, oh wait, until we're in charge, and then it's like, oh yeah, of course we're going to come do it for you because, well, just to make things even, because then when we get
Yeah.
out, it'll be even, and then of course we can go back to normal, which of course will never happen. Yeah,
No, it'll
I
just
mean,
keep going, yeah. They
yeah, they
started it.
started it exactly. Whatever.
It was
Yeah,
fine. Everything was fine till they started. They broke all the norms.
yeah.
Unprecedented.
Yeah. You used to like, anytime I would be pointing something out in the first Trump administration, I'm like, dude, this is beyond, this is breaking the norms, this is whatever. And you were just like, "Oh, whatever, breaking the norms, like, okay, it's a real big deal there." And I'm like, dude, it's so funny, like, it's like the idea of, um, who we just I was just watching some show the other day and they were talking about, well, just because it's not illegal, you know doesn't mean that, you should be doing it, and
You
in
should
fact,
do it.
like, that's a great loophole. I would definitely keep that one to yourself because once they find out, they're going to close it, and yeah.
Yeah. Don't you wanna use that for something, like, really important instead of throwing it away on
Yeah, I
this?
mean, and
Like, I mean,
that's what I'm saying. It's
okay.
like I don't see where, okay, the immigration, absolutely need to be addressed, and they've done a good job addressing that. I think they are now going way overboard. In I don't understand why. It's like, look, you got 80% support to evict and go after any criminal who it now, aside from the, oh, well, you enter the country illegally, that is a crime. Yes, it is the original sin. So
Sure.
you are, no matter what, a criminal, just like everybody who's ever broken the speeding laws. They're also criminals. So let's just call a spade a spade. So like, yeah, you're right, they're criminals, and so are you. So I'm not saying that you ever get caught or get a ticket. Well, never got a ticket. You've driven over the speed limit, therefore you're a criminal. Okay.
What is the normal remedy for speeding
So,
tickets?
well, you pay a fine. You pay a fine. And
What's the normal remedy for overstaying a visa in some
yeah,
country?
if you get caught, you get evicted. So
There you go.
I've
Yeah.
I've overstayed a visa myself in a foreign country, and so
They come
no, they
get you?
didn't. And
Yeah.
now, but also I wasn't attempting to work. So I think
They
it
could
could have
have.
been a lot worse. And I was
It could have been
when I
like,
was
"You're out."
leaving, I had some other issues, but that's another that's another
That's
story.
another
So,
story.
but I
Yeah.
just mean, like, okay, uh, even if I grant the semantic point that, yeah, okay, they're all criminals, fine. But like, I'm talking about people who are productive in society. There is whether it's your house cleaner, your au pair, your whatever, right? If you've got a job and you're contributing to society, um, people are not real. I'm not saying whether they should or shouldn't be. I'm just saying public opinion. Most people start getting iffy when it's like, okay, wait, so you're hanging out at the Home Depot, you're hanging out at these places to try to find, like, that we didn't sign up for that. And I think I don't get. I do understand having a very strict policy and kind of creating that deterrent. Like, I understand the desire there to say, look, you don't want to go there and don't mess with those guys, right? I understand
Mhm.
that.
Yeah.
However, I don't get, like, okay, you're rounding up, you're literally scooping people up off the street if they wrote an op-ed that you did that was that had a policy position that was anti. I mean, this is well into George Orwell territory, and whether people, it's like people on the for whatever reason on the Trump side of things, they're like, hey, they can't accept it or won't admit. Well, no, 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 because da 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 and da da da, and the Secretary of State has blah blah blah. I'm like, look, again, you can go down. I'm sure it's all been legally thought through, right? I'm just saying, when people hear that, it's reminiscent of things that we don't want to participate in. The vast majority of people, and so it's like, you know, I don't understand the proclivity towards that bent. I don't. I'm going to give them like a B minus on that one. Just I don't. I mean, it's definitely an improvement to where we were. So I mean, hey, in the what did Ted Kennedy used to say back in the day? It was like, it's not the art of the perfect, it's the art of the possible. That's what politics is,
Sure.
what's
Yeah.
actually possible. And so people that get stuck on, like, oh, it's not perfect, I got to vote against it. People like Tom Massey and these other people, like, dude, you're never going to get everything you want. But if this is a step in the right direction, you got to vote for it. You got to vote for it. You got to move the ball down the field. And that is what the game is. Any game, like you watch soccer, it's like, dude, you watch a soccer game for an hour and a half, and there's maybe one, two, three goals.
But they keep
Maybe, and
pushing
it's
it.
like, you could watch the whole game and it'd be 0 goals. We got to end with a shootout, right? That's a lot of
Mhm.
work for very little movement of the ball and very few points. That's what politics is, and it's like, you have to build these coalitions. You have to move the ball down the field, and you got to take the wins that you can get as you can get them. And now
Mhm.
one thing that they are doing, I think that's excellent, is that the velocity at which they're moving on a bunch of different fronts. It gives them a really good opportunity, a nice target zone where they're not getting bogged down in the news cycles, because it's like, oh, okay, we're getting hammered on this one. Let's just switch over here because we got a bunch of stuff going on everywhere. That's been very smart. I think they'll probably be copied on that in the future. So
Oh,
yeah,
almost
so there's a,
certainly.
there's a
Yeah.
lot here to like and a lot here to dislike, and a lot here tactically that the other side should and could be learning from. Um, do I have the confidence that they're doing that? No, because I haven't seen any. Again, like, I'm still, well, I tell you what. So I did get a link. Bobby Play actually was watching the other day, and he sent me a link to James Tallarico, who's my rep over here in Austin. I don't know if you've been watching this guy. He was just on Rogan a couple weeks ago. Chris Cuomo had him on a couple weeks ago as well. The
Hmm.
Rogan
No.
thing really kind of vaulted him up there, but he's a young dude. I mean, he's young. He's younger than Brian. He's like, I want to say early 30s. Looks like he's got a baby face. Could be in his 20s, but he's a state rep. So he goes to the state house here in Austin, and but just a very articulate dude. He's a Christian. He's a person of faith. He's really kind of torn between, should I stay in politics or should I go into the ministry? So he's like in seminary right now. But he has a
Okay.
very articulate, he's a Democrat, and he's got a very articulate way of speaking through whether it's abortion, whether it's immigration, whether it's all these different issues, from a heart space of faith and country and want and service, which
Hmm.
you might disagree with some of what he says. Everything he says doesn't matter. He is the kind of communicator that absolutely has a chance. He just doesn't have a lot of visibility. The
Yeah.
vast majority of the voices that you're seeing, whether it's Hakeem Jeffries, or I hate to lump all these people together, but like, I mean, all of them are doing Schumer, Jeffries, AOC, Bernie, all this stuff is all just
Spartacus.
Spartacus. It's like just capitalizing on, okay, our problem was we didn't go left enough,
Anymore. Well,
yeah, Mom Donnie. I mean, like,
sometimes that is true though. So like my rep, who was pretty popular, she got primaried out because she crossed the aisle on, I think it was availability of I want to say it was trans surgeries for minors. She crossed the aisle
okay.
and voted with the Republicans to block trans surgeries for minors
Oh, this was a
at state level.
Democrat. I heard about this
Democrat.
lady. Yeah.
And
Well, she's obviously a transphobe, so that's
she
why.
got primaried out. It was like, it's a safe D seat where I live, and so it was like, hey, you're trying to genocide the trans children, so
Right.
we
Yeah, you
got to
got to
get
go.
rid of you. So that is a case of like, hey, here's a moderate position. I think something like 75-80% of U.S. population agrees that minors should not be having body parts chopped up due to psychological.
I don't think that's the preferred nomenclature, but sure,
Well, whatever it
go for
is.
it.
I mean, amputations, double mastectomies for 12-year-olds.
I
Who,
think it's top and bottom
yeah,
surgeries
I
are
know,
the,
yeah,
yeah,
gender affirming care.
gender affirming
What
surgery. Yeah.
what I love about those is that when they were first talking about banning it, everyone was like, "Well, those never happen. Like that's propaganda. That never occurs." Then they get banned,
Right.
and then it's like they're stopping this from happening. It's like, I
Well, I'll
thought
tell you what.
it never happened.
What's fun? What I'll tell you what's funny,
But
dude.
anyway, that's a case. That is a case of not far left enough. Cost them the seat.
Well,
Um,
and the right went through that for a long time after
with the Tea
Obama was
Party.
elected. Yeah, and it was just like, look, I mean, if you step out of orthodoxy anywhere, you're canceled.
Hmm.
And it's interesting. They ended up driving out all the non-homogenous elements of the Republican Party. Your country club Republicans, your whatever you want to call it. Blue blood Republicans,
Yeah.
business Republican. They've driven all of them out, and it's like I was like I was always wondering. I mean, like in the 2010s. I mean, 2010 through 2021. I was like, they've chased everybody out of the party. Like, who's left to vote for them? And they got all these interlopers in there. These MAGA people that are not really conservative at all. But I
No,
mean, they're
they're
Republican, I guess, because
populists.
they're voting for the Republican dude.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the Republicans underwent a hostile takeover, is what
Yeah.
happened.
Yeah. Well, that's a great way to.
So I
That's a
mean,
great way
we're
to
seeing the
couch
end
it.
of, but that's why it's kind of like, well, this doesn't seem like a real Republican policy. It's like, well, it wouldn't have been, but it's not the same party anymore. So it's
Mhm.
not they. It's like the people on that are from Macedonia, the ultra MAGA people. That
Macedonia.
they they don't
Oh, Fredonia.
they don't use the elephant symbol. For them, it's the lion, right? Because it's Trump. And so it's like, no, like our mascot isn't even the elephant. I mean, this is the
Yeah.
lion mascot,
Yeah.
MAGA. Now,
MAGA.
I'll tell you, I was trying to think of how this could be resolved. Like if we were put on some kind of task force. I was like, okay, we have this gerrymandering issue, and it seems like inevitably it will become an arms race. Like not that it is there right now today, but that it's gonna be, that
Oh, it,
we're
how is
dealing
it not?
we're dealing with something that's kind of like the pre-Civil War issue, where it's like, well, we'll let this state in the slave state, but only if we let in a free state
No,
too. And the
dude,
same thing, you know.
that's exactly where it is. I mean,
Yeah,
like, I think you could Google it, but like, what is the percentage of seat races, congressional races in the United States that are actually competitive? And
right. Very,
I'll bet you it's 15%
very few. And
tops.
I would also bet that if we were looking at the House, and again, Senate's different because it's state by state, and they
Yeah,
have
you can't
very
gerrymander the states. Yeah,
right, they have very different. Well, and it's like California is going to have the same number of senators as Wyoming, even though Wyoming only has 500,000 people in the whole
right.
place. So
That is a that is a huge Republican advantage, the Senate,
as long
because
as they remain the party of rural voters, which may not always be the case.
sure, but
Yeah,
like okay, I think what is it 40 uh, something like 90 some odd percent of counties in the United States voted Republican. You know, and
yeah,
and it's really, I mean, dude, as a longtime Democrat voter, I mean, that's always been hard for me to get my head around. It's like, you look at a map of just county by county, and it's like a sea of red with like these tiny little blue dots, and you're like, it's like, oh, you don't think this is Trump country,
ah,
and
this is MAGA country.
MAGA country. And if you I mean, if you do it state by state even, you do have a very, kind of a Republican kind of
Yeah,
it connects everything there. It's the
yeah. Well, and I think at some point the Democrats will appeal to rural voters again. I think they're going to have to if they want to have a durable presence in the Senate. Um, and so it'll happen. That's not where we are right now. I think if you probably look at the number of representatives, um, like if you looked at the popular vote um, for representatives and compared it to the number or the percentage of representatives by party, it's probably pretty close.
no.
If you look
Nationally?
nationally
No.
for representatives, not Senate representatives,
Okay, let's see here.
I think
What
it's.
percentage
And I'm not saying it's the same. I'm saying it's close.
of
Um,
voters voted?
Popular vote 20. Let's look at 2022 because 24 is a. I mean that's presidential year, so that'll be skewed. So we have 435 seats. Popular vote. Okay, so the popular vote for the U.S. House in 2022 was 54 million point two for Republicans, 51 million point two for Democrats. So it was a 50% Republican, 47% Democrat in 2022. And then as far as the number of seats,
Hey, I lost you.
are you?
Sorry, I lost you there. What was the last thing you said?
Am I back now? Is this okay?
Yep, yep, yep.
Okay. So for the popular vote, it's 50% to 47. So 54 million versus 50.
Yeah, but this is so you got to look at it. Oh, sorry. I'm having technical issues
But
over
then
here. I don't know if you are you seeing
no,
me stuck, or you're watching the
you
whole
look
thing?
good. You look
Okay, all
good.
right.
Yeah.
It may
So
just be at
but
what what I
the seats are 222 to 213. So it's
yeah.
close. I'm not saying it's the same, but it's close.
So here's some data I just pulled for, over a period of time, which is more instructive. So since 2000, the Republican Party's share of seats won exceeded its national vote share in 11 of 13 U.S. House rep elections. The Republican Party won fewer seats relative to its national vote share in 2008. That's the only time. And in 2024, which is this one we just did, they won the same share of seats relative to its national vote share. Every other election, they have overperformed. And so
Yes.
it's,
So
yeah,
here's what I'm saying though. They got 51% of the seats with 50% of the vote. So
right,
they
but that 1% makes all the difference,
no,
bro.
it does. It
Yeah.
does. So I'm not saying that I'm not saying like it all works out in the end. What I'm
No,
saying
these
is
are
that
all tiny little marginal tweaks that give them an institutional advantage. When you add it all up, it's that's why they kick so much butt. And
well,
that's why it's always so frustrating for Republican voters, I've noticed, when they don't get their priorities executed. It's like, dude, we sent you up there with an overwhelming, now do your job, you know? So,
Well, my point though is that while you have a lot of states that are deeply gerrymandered, the gerrymandering as a nation is not that far off. It's 51 to 50, so an additional 1%. And I know it made a difference. 1% is a big deal because
yep.
that's 4 seats. Um, but it's not a huge difference. It's not like we're looking at a 10% difference or 15% difference. So here's what I think should happen. Here's my take. Tell me what you think about this.
Okay.
Instead of picking because all of the representatives now, like the whole concept of like, well, this is your neighbor and you know them and you're going to vote for the person instead of the party because party doesn't really matter, right? What matters is integrity and values and all that. It's like no. All the house races are national races at this point because when you vote for like in 2020 if you voted for the blue ticket, you're even whoever that is, your representative, what you're really voting for is Nancy Pelosi to be House Speaker,
Well, that's right. That's what
right?
ends up happening.
And then also how the committees are going to be structured and whether or not there's going to be a Jan 6 committee, for example, in 2020. And that's what your vote for that blue representative. Like, it literally doesn't matter who that person is, how good or bad they are. What you're voting for is the party.
That's right.
So I think what we should do is just go ahead and make that official. So um, here's how it would work. So Texas has uh, how many representatives in the House?
Let's see.
Let me look it up here. We have 38. Okay.
Yep. 38. Yep.
All right. So we'll take 38.
The
So
current delegation is 25 Republicans, 12 Democrats. So twice as many
mhm.
Republicans as Democrats, and they do not get twice as much of the vote.
No, no.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you look at the map, the current map, it is totally bonkers here. I don't know if you've seen district maps of Texas before, but it's just like it's so
Oh, I mean, I have. When I showed them to mom and dad, even they were shocked. It's like, wait a minute, what? What?
that's like
Yeah. So 56% of Texans voted for Trump versus 44%. So, uh, and then they get double the seats.
yeah.
Yeah.
So here's how I would do it. So that means for every 2.6% of the vote, there is a representative because 38,
Yep. Yep.
5
Yep.
So then what you do is people vote for the party. And then when they vote for the party, whichever party it is, if a party reaches every 2.6%, they get a rep. So you might have 2 parties only, you might have a third. And so just however many you get,
So
that's
they
how
would all
many you
be
get. So
at-large statewide representatives. But why would
exactly.
you want to do
And
that?
well, because that way you would make sure that the popular vote for
Again,
representatives matches
it
the
defeats the
number of
purpose
representatives.
of representative government. I mean, I see what you're saying, and I mean, maybe it's better than what we have, maybe not. I don't know. It doesn't sound like it, but I mean, because it doesn't solve. I mean, yes, it solves the percentage problem, but it doesn't.
It does. It's the only
Okay,
way to solve
but
the
it doesn't.
percentage problem.
It's not the only way. It's the most most obviously neutral way. I'll grant you that. That was very clever. But it does not. It doesn't do anything to get. I mean, like all 38 of the people could have been picked from the Dallas Metro, for example. And more than likely they would be picked then based on party affiliation. I don't know that it would. And in fact, so it certainly would not. See, here's the problem. The problem is not that Democrats have more, Republicans have more here and there. Okay, that's not the problem. Even mathematically, even if that was the problem mathematically, that's not the real problem. Um, but as you just pointed out, like it does mirror. I mean, Republicans have an advantage, but in general, it's not too far off. I get your point. The real problem is that because the districts are safe districts,
Mhm.
for one party or the other. The
Mhm.
real race is the primary, not the general election. And because whoever, like, if it's a Democratic leaning district, whoever wins the Democratic primary is probably going to win the election. So, I mean, unless they really screw up. So, what it does is you get representatives that skew way more to the extremes than the actual voters of the different districts around Texas, the actual
Yeah.
districts, functioning districts, right?
Yep.
As so under both scenarios, if they did it your way, yes, you would have a mathematically precise allocation, or as precise as you could get it, but you would
Mhm.
still, in fact, you might even have more fringe types of people because they'd be lobbying for their place in the party. Then it would be controlled by the party buses. And
Well, so you wouldn't
so,
have to do it by bosses. You could still have a primary. You could just do like a giant ranked choice primary,
okay,
and it's like, okay, here are the people that are running. You select the ones that you want, and select five. We'll say everybody gets to select five,
okay,
and then the ones with the most votes in order. So let's say the party only gets 10 representatives. They only get 26% of the vote. They had a terrible year. We'll just take that first 10 off the list. There we go.
okay.
Can you see
Hey,
me? All right. Hey, sorry about that. There's a storm going on over here behind me, so it's probably me. Um, all I was saying was that if you do it this way, yes, you lose the idea of your local representative, but it's already gone.
mm, okay.
There's nothing, right? I mean, look at the map as it is today, and tell
I'm
me.
not arguing with you. I just don't. Why go through something that doesn't actually solve anything?
Well, the thing is that there's no way to do. There's no
It's not true.
neutral way to do the local thing unless you do like unless you go with like the expert model where you're like we'll have a panel, they'll draw the map. Because if it's the panel of Republicans and Democrats, they're going to try to engineer as many safe seats for
That's right.
themselves as they can.
That's right.
Uh, so like how would you do it? How would you draw it so that like their representative represents you, Mr. North Austin man?
You have to have some group that's not politically affiliated.
No such thing.
Actually, that's not true. You could have different scientific criteria. You could say you could do
Or
different
by
weighted averages or whatever. I'm just saying
like do it by algorithm or something?
you would not. There's absolutely a way. I mean, like this whole idea of like, oh, no matter what we do, it's going to be corrupt. Okay, fine. Let's say that's true. Even can we minimize the corruption somewhat? Can we minimize the corruption even by 90%? The answer is yes. It's not like, oh well, it can't be perfect, so therefore we're stuck with this. No, that's again that we're back in the perfect
Well,
being the enemy of what's actually possible.
unless and so here's where I'm thinking. The problem is that now that it is known that it's possible to draw the map in a way that benefits you. Like we're seeing this long slide from when it was first tried. Where was the first one? Massachusetts, whatever. Um,
Yeah,
that's where the gerrymander thing comes
yeah,
from.
yeah,
So
yeah.
so it's like we're looking at a long slide of like at first people are outraged. There's cartoons about it. People are like, that's wrong. And then it's like, well, it becomes more accepted. Now everyone's doing it and they just have to do it in a way that maybe isn't racist. And that's all you need to worry about, but you can still pick your voters and stuff. And so now it's to the point where like, well, we're going to have an arms race over it. And it's like, well, okay, let's stop that. We'll all become better people.
Right, right. We'll
We're
all become
all
better
the
people.
Yeah, we're somehow or another the incentives for why we all did this in the first place just vanished. Like it's amazing. Like
Right.
you have I don't know. I just don't see a way out of the human nature desire to put their thumb on these scales to give themselves a bigger share than what they should by nature have. It's like oh my gosh, envy, 7 deadly sins. We're not going to get rid of it. So you have to have a system that's immune to envy, or it won't work. I don't know. That's my. You don't think so? You're giving me like suspicious face.
You
You're
know,
like, I'm skeptical.
well, I just I'm open for anything that moves the ball. You know, like I said, so I'm not going to sit here and quibble about it. I like your idea. It does get us somewhere. I'm not sure. It because the fundamental problem is you don't have people. You don't have like you said. If I vote for this Democrat, I'm basically voting for Nancy Pelosi's agenda, right?
Even if I
And
like this Democrat more and I think he's a better person than the Republican,
right,
doesn't
and
matter.
exactly, or vice versa. You know, if I
Yeah.
vote for this Republican, I'm voting for Trump's agenda, which you are. You know, and so it's like, well, you can either get realistic about it and get right with it, or you could say, well, what would take that down? Like, what would make that less likely to be a true statement? And what would make that less likely to be a true statement if you had more independent thinkers in Congress? How are you going to get more independent thinkers in
Can't
Congress?
we all
You have
just get along?
no, but it's not that. You have to create. I mean, yes, but you also have to create the conditions for it to be a possible outcome. Right now, it's not a possible outcome. The only possible outcome is that you have more and more and more hyper partisan people that get elected. I mean, that is the foreseeable future under either model, by the way, that you proposed. And my all I'm saying is, okay, and let's pretend it's completely impossible, okay, to actually do. But if you had, you know, 3 representatives from Austin, and 10 from Dallas, and 10 from Houston, 4 from San Antonio, and 3 from El Paso, and 1 from the border, whatever.
Panhandle, blah, blah,
If you actually had regional representation, and then the voters in that area would choose who they send,
blah.
then you're not necessarily as beholden. I mean, unless they come in. I mean, there's still all these other levers, money especially. So like the money ties everybody together anyway. So it's like, okay, well, let's say you accomplished all that, then you still have the money in the politics problem. You're right. So I mean, and like Schenck Ulger's been saying for 20 years, he's like, dude, that is the number one goal. His goal is to get the money out of politics. I'm like, good luck, because once it gets in, it's like,
It's not going to come out.
there's zero incentive for anybody inside the system to change it. There's zero incentive. I mean, as time goes on and more money is allowed into the system, I mean, it just becomes completely bought and paid for. It's not even a close call. It's not even a controversial thing that we're saying. So
take a look at. I just sent you a picture of the Houston map. If you want to share that to our audience here, just to
okay.
show you, this is the current Houston map. This is not even the new crazy one. This is the current one.
Where did you send it to me?
I sent it to your Telegram.
Oh, okay. Let's see here. I finally got brave and did the Hyperland. I'm doing the Hyperland. I'm doing Hyperland for
Hyperland's
this,
great.
and it's
Hyperland's
like,
fantastic.
I love it. Okay, let's see here. Screen share. Oh, what?
Can you see it though?
Yeah. Why is that? Let's see here. Hold
That's your whole screen.
on. That's not what I wanted to do.
Ah.
Okay. Well, see, I should have thought this through.
Well, here, maybe I can share it. Let me see if I can share it. We're going to share this window right here.
There you go. Oh,
Yeah.
are you offering? You're offering yours too? But yeah,
I was, but don't worry, yours is fine. But I mean, look at that.
Yeah, it's insane.
Like, what in the world?
I mean, look at this white one, right? Like a corkscrew, and then this one. At least they've attempted to go around a clock here, but so you can see what they've done here. So here's
time is it?
Yeah, here's Houston, for those people that have no idea what we're looking at here. So here's the bay. and here's Houston. And you would think you'd have like a, this is downtown Houston on the west side of Fourth Ward, and all that is historically minority neighborhoods. You would have a district here, and then you would have another
Mm-hmm.
district, River Oaks, and the rich people here, and you'd have your Humble and stuff here. But what they've done is they've cracked it all up to pieces. So this is not they're trying to split the votes of these minority communities into 2 or 3 different districts, and then they bring in all of this rural area, see all of this, to counteract that,
Mm-hmm.
right? And say, okay, well, here's
Yep.
your rural voters that literally give the minorities no voice, in the city center.
Or well, dilute it to the point where it's no
Well,
longer
that's right. The
meaningful.
representative, and it's this is an oversimplification, but it rings completely true. It's like the voters should pick their representatives. Representatives should not be able to pick their voters. This is the whole thing about carpetbagging. It's like, oh well, it's easier for
Mhm.
me to get elected in, Dick Cheney. Easier for me to get elected from my Wyoming than Virginia, where I actually live. And so let me go over there and, you know,
That's now my
residents.
residence.
Yeah, it's all
Yeah.
a
Well, I think if you look at a map like this, I'm kind of so we danced around this one just like yeah,
this one.
there's
I mean, look
the
at this.
yeah.
This is so dumb.
Blech.
I mean, just
Yeah. Um so there's we danced around this, but I kind of like the idea of an algorithmic approach where like the algorithm would set something like either geographically where or like by um not racial demographics but income demographics. So it's like here is a region and it needs to be contiguous, right, and so on. There needs to be some geographical element. So you might say, well, okay, south of Brays Bayou, or things west or east of 45, if you're
mhm,
looking at Houston, right? Something like that. We could say, well, yeah, I mean, there is a different flavor for East Downtown
right.
versus the West. Yeah, so it's like, yeah, we can put a line there. Um, I can see something like that where it's like, hey, we're going to trust the computer, and the computer draws a map, and it's just like, it is what it is. You got to go win that district. Um, that might be an approach to do. Especially, I think what would be really spicy is if you could weight it to where all districts, in terms of their historical voting record, all districts were no more than 10% in either direction.
There you go.
So, so that historically, if everybody votes the same way, each district would be won 45
Hmm.
55 or
Hmm.
less. So basically, all districts must be competitive. That would be fascinating. I think that they'll never do, but that would be a really interesting way to break this problem is to go about it
Right.
algorithmically. So I think as soon as you get people involved, this is my view, and you don't share it, I don't think, but my view is that this is inevitable. This will happen.
Algorithmic approach.
No, that this what we're looking at the on the district map as it is now. And again, this one isn't gerrymandered enough,
Oh,
right?
yeah.
According to the current Texas House, but that this is something like this is inevitable once we allow humans to draw their maps, and that in order to prevent that, we have to like take humans out of that process.
Yeah, I'll go with you.
Okay,
I'll do it.
bleak view of humanity
I
unite.
mean, it's it's I don't know. I, I was uh, I was watching. One of my favorite things to do now is to watch. Well, I'll pick Charlie Kirk out because he's the one of the last ones I watched. But these guys that go in to like a university setting and then have a debate. It's like, hey,
Oh yeah, take on all
yeah, they'll
comers
put
kind of
out
thing.
some set. Well, Charlie Kirk, because he's right wing, he'll be like, abortion is wrong. Tell me why I'm wrong, right? And whatever, and he'll get people come up. All illegal immigrants should be deported. Mass deportations now. Tell me why I'm wrong, right? And then people will come up there and they just yell at him, and it's just it's so fun to watch because it's like, first of all, like, I mean, we all love conflict, and so it's fun to watch. If
God, good
if you're if you're
television.
if you're not really a fan of the person who's being debated, it's fun because you take the side of everybody who comes up to the mic and go, "Okay, you can do better, man. You can do better. No, no, don't forget to tell him this," you know? Uh, and,
Yeah.
and then
Don't take the bait. He's gonna
right,
get
and
you.
then on the flip
Yeah.
side, like, if you're a fan of whoever is doing the debate, then you're rooting for them. Yeah, smack them down, you know? So I
Yeah.
love stuff like that. Christopher Hitchens used to just be my absolute favorite, to watch, rest in peace.
Well, he had the best voice for
Totally.
that because you always felt stupid whenever he
Right.
was talking
Right,
too.
and he would treat you like that too, like, "Oh, okay, here's another idiot. Alright, let's dismantle
Yeah.
this." I freaking love stuff like that. So anyway, but I think, unfortunately, the last few years, it's become harder and harder to find, uh, engaged liberals who will do that. Pete Buttigieg will do that.
Mm.
Um, this guy, Tallarico, that I was talking about, he'll do it. AOC will do it. Bernie loves doing it. But like in general, that's not something that, and it's not. I'm not trying to be overly harsh on the left. I mean, that's a big challenge to sit down, with a hostile crowd, and to just go from the cuff. I mean, that would intimidate anybody. I just feel like that is what really people are craving. And I think when you get out there and you use that muscle in front of crowds, like, I mean, you just become so much better than your competition, and right now, I just think Democrats are really letting Republicans, um, run circles around them with their prep. Like, I mean, I've been watching,
Mhm.
uh, media for a long time, and it's like, I saw a stat the other day, when they were talking about, Colbert being fired, and it's like, oh well, this is,
Oh, yeah.
Trump got him fired, etc., which is probably true in my opinion. But on the flip side too, like, you're
Maybe.
running a crappy business and you're not making any money. I mean, like, at some point, obviously the runway is going to run out. Um, but it was like, it had kind of occurred to me, that when I was watching a show like that, that it was like, okay, well, he's saying everything I like hearing right now. Like, it's you're not hearing any controversial stuff. You're not sitting there and letting your blood's not boiling or whatever. If you're,
Mhm.
if you kind of lean left anyway, you're watching this stuff. But in the last, like, I don't know how many years he's had on zero conservatives, like, and they went through this stats. I couldn't even believe it. What percentage of late night guests over the past few years have been conservative? Bill Maher, you could always count on him to bring on, some conservatives.
Oh, yeah.
Um,
Even if it's just to yell at him for a little bit, it's like,
okay,
"That's
yeah, here you
cool."
go. So a 2024 study covering October of 23 to June of 24, so about 6 months, found that 8 out of 145 political guests, 6%, were conservative. 94% were liberal. The disparity was even more pronounced in the first half of 2025, which research indicating 99% of guests were either liberal or Democrat, leaving conservatives just 1%. Uh,
And then this is on
this
which
is
show?
just this is late night comedy. So, like, all late
All
night
late
comedy.
night comedy.
Since
Ugh,
September of
okay.
22, the cumulative count across multiple studies show liberals and Democrats outnumbering conservatives by a ratio of 511 to 14.
You know, we talked
How does
about
that
this.
make any sense? Like, and again, I'm not saying
Oh,
like somebody should come in and do something about it. It's just that what has happened is, and this is the Democrats' problem. It's like, are you not listening to what people say they want? You're in a representative government, right? So, and that's not to say that people should get everything they want, but if you're not at least attempting to address these concerns, right? Like, uh, it, it is. It doesn't mean that you have to have policies that are. I mean, whatever. I don't want to go on that tangent. I was like, oh no, I could go down that door, but that door, doesn't go anywhere fun. So, but it's just, I don't understand. It's like, why would you? intentionally produce a product that half of the country is not gonna be interested in watching. Like over time, like it's well, okay, once or twice, but over time, it's like, okay, it's going back to, I mean, 3, 4, 5 years, 511 to 14. Like
Mhm.
at some point, you're just gonna be like, I'm not. If you're a conservative, I don't feel like tuning in. You know,
Oh,
I'm not
yeah.
gonna tune in at
Well,
all. I mean, I'll see the funny clips that come out on Facebook.
yeah.
So
We talked about this right after Trump won in 24, and I said that one of the really amazing things that a lot of people woke up and felt was after being told years that they were, a small hateful group, and that like late night, like everybody is different. Everybody, there are no right wing people.
conservative,
Right
right, right.
wing people don't exist. Right? It's
Don't
like
exist.
this tiny group of folks on the internet yelling at each other. Like it's not even a thing. And you wake up and you find out you were the majority. And it's like, what mind blowing experience for those people. And it's like, yeah, if you were watching late night, I mean, it seems like the point of it, if what was to make it appear that everybody's liberal and that the things they're talking about are just true. I mean, look around. Everybody agrees. We all agree.
Yeah.
And it's like, hmm, it's just a like propaganda hour. It's not even. And the thing is with Colbert, and to his credit, when he had his own show before, the Colbert Report. I don't know. Did you ever watch that show?
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
That
yeah.
that was
He
that
was
was him.
hysterical, dude.
That was him at his best. Now that one is like, hey, what are we doing here? We're parroting the right wing. The whole point is to send up the right wing, and it's like, well, I watched that. It's great. We're roasting the right wing. Like that's awesome.
Hmm.
You knew what you were getting, and he did it really well. And if you look at late night, where late night is like, let's entertain people as they kind of fall asleep. We'll get some bands on here. We'll get some celebrities, and will be sort of mildly humorous. And um, it's like, oh, we're still sending up the right wing, but we forgot to tell you that's what we were doing,
Hmm.
you know. And then I think he started to believe he was a journalist or something, and it's like, well, now it's kind of sad. Like, oh no, you're delusional.
Well, so so
Um,
so listen to these stats here. This is
oh
just
no, is it even? Is
well,
it
no,
worth?
because so there is a show that's a comedy show on the right. If I had to compare, there's this guy named Greg Gutfeld
Oh yeah, on Fox.
uh,
Yeah,
on Fox, and
his show's
he's kind
doing
of
fine.
his show's kind of snarky, kind of like, and he loves like owning the libs on his show or whatever. Um, but so these are the final rankings. Okay, so I'm gonna give you Gutfeld's number first.
Okay,
Okay, so Gutfeld gets 3.29 million viewers.
three
Okay,
point two nine million.
3.29 million. Okay,
Okay, all right.
now and then now transitioning to mainstream. So Stephen Colbert, he's the number one show, late night show,
Okay.
um, at 2.42 million.
So he's not even able to beat a cable show.
Right, and he's number one. And then Jimmy Kimmel's next at 1.7 million. Uh, oh, pardon me. Jimmy Fallon is 1.19 million. And in the coveted, advertisers really want that 18 to 49 demo.
Mhm.
So in that demo, Kimmel is number one with 220, who edges out Colbert at 219,000 and Fallon 157,000, distant third. Gutfeld gets 238,000, which is again more than Kimmel, who's number one in that
So
in the
more
demo.
so there's more 18 to 49-year-olds paying for Fox News and watching Gutfeld than there are people just tuning in. That's terrible.
And,
Yeah,
and
no
the
wonder
thing
they got
is,
rid
the
of it.
thing is,
That's
the thing
that's
is
that
too, and
just it's lost its relevance.
well, the thing is that, and I don't understand this either, but like on the conservative side of media, you've got, because it's always, oh, Fox is number one, it's like, and like liberals always love to say, yeah, number one source of misinformation. But but they are number one because there's a massive audience that's hungry for that pitch, and they're not getting it from from mainstream media at all. And so from late, I mean, obviously, like they're not even trying to give them
Yeah.
anything, you know, and
They've just
yeah,
given up on that audience entirely.
entirely, yeah, exactly. So I don't really see how that you know how that improves. Like, and then the other thing is
They
like, okay,
Bud
well,
Lighted
so
themselves.
let's look at the well, and then let's look at the entire right wing ecosystem. So if there's let's say, I mean, if you add up, you know, these numbers, you got 238,000 people watching a conservative show versus what is let's see, 220 plus 220 is 440 plus 157 is another 160. So that's 600,000. So 238,000 to 600,000 viewers in the demo. 600,000 of them prefer, a liberal message versus, the 238 or whatever. So whatever that is, less than half as many. But it also could be, well, that's the only show that's out there, like, so on the conservative. I mean, like what like OAN, Newsmax. I don't know what other conservative type stuff there
don't
is, but
don't most of the conservative they don't trying to think. They don't really do late night. They do. They prefer like the YouTube stuff. Steve Crowder, and some of these other folks. They have like an hour show, but it'll be done through streaming. Like they don't. They haven't really. I don't know. I don't really associate late night with right wing humor content.
yeah, well, because I mean, typically
Now we
conservatives
know
aren't
why.
very funny.
Now we know why.
Yeah.
Oh, oh gosh.
Yep.
So, any predictions? What do you think is going to happen with Texas House? Do you think their quorum breakers are going to come back and vote no?
Oh,
And
the governor will slap some fines on him. It'll be a big show, and everybody will get riled up about it. They'll raise a few $1,000,000 off of it, and then they'll come back here and redistrict. So
do
I
you
mean,
think the redistricting is going to happen?
100%. How are they going to hold off? They're going to hold off until next election because I mean, I guarantee you, the only thing that will be on the calendar if a quorum presents itself anytime in the next year or two is going to be that. So
Is there a limit to how many special sessions the governor can call? Is it possible for the Democrats to run out the clock if they wanted to?
I don't know. That's a great question.
We
So
need someone who's a um, s-
but I
specializes
mean,
in
it
the
dude,
Texas
it gets really hard. I mean, I remember the last time this happened to this scale was when Tom DeLay. This would have been in 2000 and maybe two, I guess. It was definitely before the '04 election because that's when he got bounced. But I want to say '02, '03, something like that. He wanted to ram through um, redistricting off a census year, and of course he ended up getting indicted. I mean, there was all kinds of
Yeah, it was
corruption. I mean,
that was
Tom
a mess.
Tom Tom DeLay was like a pay to play mania. For those of you guys that don't know, I was living in DC at the time, and it was just like this. Tom DeLay was the man. I mean, it's like if you wanted anything done on Capitol Hill, you had to go through Tom DeLay, and he had a book, and it was like if you had not given, donated to his many different, like you wouldn't even get a return phone call. I mean, it was a known thing. It was like no, you got to pay if you want your
Gotta pay.
stuff moved up on the calendar. So, I mean, he was
So sad.
100% corrupt dude, but and of course a very true blue Southern Baptist. He would always talk about how I used to own a pest control business, and we went from exterminating bugs in your house to exterminating bugs on Capitol Hill. Anyway, but they Democrats fled the state then, and went across the border to Oklahoma. There's a
Hmm.
casino up there, and a big one. In fact, the largest casino in the country. I love
Hey,
casinos.
Native American, gonna
Native. Yep.
hang out with our
Largest.
bros. Help us.
That's right. That's right. And yeah, and
Sanctuary,
the,
sanctuary.
the Oklahoma governor was all, like at the time, like, oh, I mean, because dude, it doesn't even matter if you're on the same party. It's like, oh, you guys are
Sure,
having
yeah, come on.
problems with Pocahontas, stick it to you guys. But yeah, they had state troopers deployed, ready to arrest these people as if they came across the border back into Texas. I mean, they knew where they were.
Hey,
They
ready
they'd
to
sent
go.
people up there to put trackers on. I mean, like they knew where they were. And eventually it was I remember it was one guy, one of the Democrats, that folded because I mean, I guess they had been up there for 2 weeks or something. And I mean, for some of these guys, I mean, they got young families, they got kids, they got stuff
Yeah.
going on. It's like, dude, I gotta, I promised my kid this is a birthday party, I can't miss it. And it's like, if you go back, you're gonna get arrested. And then, because they only had enough, they had just enough people had left to stop the quorum. But if any one of them went back, they would have a quorum. So then it might as well all come back, right? And he was just like, guys, I'm sorry,
I have to go.
I got my sell by date here, and yeah, he was a big villain. Although now I can't remember his name. So I mean,
So did they?
he faded into Bolivia, as Mike Tyson likes to say.
So was that a? So that redistricting plan did go through.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Oh, Republicans have had their way with the state of Texas for quite some time now. I
Yeah.
mean, yep.
Well, it got to offset California. I mean, they're doing it. They
Yeah, that's right.
started.
Yeah, right. We
They
didn't do it.
started. We got to. I mean, we're
Yeah.
just answering what they're doing.
Yeah.
I don't know. This one, I think there's enough energy behind it where, and they're far enough away, and I think there's enough donor money floating around. I think they can hold out for at least this special session. And I think for the governor to call a second one, there are some political costs for that. And it may be something where it's like, you gain more political points by not doing it. Like, oh, the Democrats, they stopped us. We got to make sure we do a better job getting our people in next year, kind of thing.
Right.
So it's like if you actually get this issue, it doesn't help you the way keeping the issue alive would, especially if you have to keep all of the representatives there for multiple special sessions. Like maybe you got to let it go. I don't know. I know that he can't arrest people. I definitely, I do not predict that they actually go try to prosecute.
They don't
The
want to prosecute him. They just want him back in the state so they can get a quorum. They'll have
No,
him arrested, handcuffed, and brought to the
no. They're let me see, where was it?
Oh, I'm not saying somebody's not calling for their arrest. I'm just saying that ultimately nobody cares about that. They just want the quorum so they can redistrict.
Yeah. So here we go. Governor Abbott has already, so for one of the people here in Houston, so Gene Wu, he Abbott cited a writ of quo warranto. So he's going to have him removed from office. And if he can have him removed from office, then he has the right to appoint someone in his spot. And so what they're talking about is come back
Dude,
and
Gene,
vote.
I
He
know
already filed
Gene.
it.
I know Gene. Gene's married to my friend Maya, the TV reporter. So yeah,
But
I've met him a few times. He's a good dude.
so
Sorry,
they're
Gene, you're going to jail, man.
well, no, it's not that. That's the governor's way right now of getting around the arresting problem. Is that we don't have to arrest them, just declare them to have abandoned their office, and so then they're no longer the representative, and I can appoint someone, and then we get our quorum done.
Right.
So you just basically kick people out of office for doing this, which fascinating approach. But again, if that kind of thing happens, I mean, the Democrats would love that.
Of course. Yeah.
Like that seems to be shooting yourself in the foot. Um, it may be better to just let this one go, especially since you're not even going to get the 5 reps out of it. The 5 reps are going to be taken back in California. Like, you don't actually gain anything. I don't know.
Well, what they're thinking is, okay, we'll do it in Texas. California will do theirs. So you'll have an offset. But we've got way more Republican states where we haven't done this. And Democrats have way fewer areas of opportunity where they can do this. Like they are already kind of strained to the breaking point in the different states where they have done this. And so, and because Republicans have so many more counties, really to choose from, they can get real creative about and also, in fact, I heard this Democrat, it was kind of just laughing because, so, and again, speaking as a former reliably Democratic voter, right? I have been on and on and on about this issue again for as long as I've known it was an issue. Like you can see the results of what this is going to do. And so my solution has always been like, dude, you got to get it into a third party, some non-political, group to manage this in somewhat of a non-partisan way. And Democrats in general have been intellectually pretty consistent with that across the country. Like that's been not only good policy, but also like party talking points for a long time. The problem is that they've deployed it in these states where they deployed it. Like those are no longer areas of opportunity for them. Republicans have never been interested in that. Like Republicans are always like, that's not going to help me win, so no. um, and I got to give it to Republicans, man. I mean, like whatever the game is, they know what the game is, they know what the rules are, and they are here to beat your like that. That's what they're here for. Like they are not here to like make the country better. What I mean, like if the country happens to get better, obviously our ideas are we hope but we're really here to win. Like no matter what, like you can't. And I've heard Republicans say that. Like, look, you can't do any good if you don't win. So
Right.
first you have to win, and then you can do whatever good you can do, given the constraints you had to take on trying to win. So it's
Yeah.
just, yeah, okay.
But
So
maybe the populace gets some breadcrumbs out of it.
well, it's like look at the states. Look at the states who. So for example, one of the other big complaints that people have is about the electoral college. In my opinion, the electoral college is absolutely vital to keep. It is the only thing that really honors what the founding fathers had envisioned, which was a collection of states, electing their representatives, but still maintaining autonomy. And if you lose that, you literally are just going to be run by um, the issues that the voters in the most populous places in the country care about. You're going to have New York, LA, Philly, Houston, et cetera. They're going to make the
Chicago.
rules for Chicago. They're going to make that's it. Those five cities, those where the voters are, and it just changes the entire calculus. People that care about who cares about rural hospitals, like I mean, like literally like
Not me. I have the
that kind of
medical center right over there.
that kind of stuff is gone. So like you need the electric. I mean, people once you start thinking through, like, okay, come on now, does it absolutely chap your ass when the electoral college comes in and takes a victory away when more people voted for your of course it does, right? But the whole reason it was designed that way was so that the voters in these states could have a voice, right? And so the solution around the electoral college, which I've seen some states adopt, is they pass these laws, and there's a handful of states that do this, that say people can come and vote, but our electors, which is that's what matters. Our electors are going to be given out based on who wins the national popular vote.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what the voters. I can't remember whether Utah is one of these states, but let's pretend it is. It doesn't matter what the voters of Utah want. If the national vote is this candidate got more votes than this, for example, the last round was
Well,
Donald Trump.
and Utah voters are part of that total. So
You,
you made your voice heard.
but it takes away the effect is it takes away the voice of Utah voters, right? So the only way that actually works is if every state in the country does it. There's no way. I mean, like
Yeah.
there's a good number of
Do you,
states that are like that. Why would I do that?
do you
So
realize do you realize what would happen if they did that? What a lot of people don't know, but it only shows up when there's like very, very close totals in the House of Representatives, is that California has
keep talking.
one
I,
of
I gotta just do something here real quick.
okay. California has one of the most I don't want to use the word corrupt because it's like a accusation, which I don't I don't know that part, but they have terribly managed elections where they'll continue to find votes in districts. So you might have a district that's competitive and you're like, oh my gosh, looks like this person won by a nice margin. It's like, well, just wait, after a few weeks, weeks later, and after the election takes place, we'll just keep finding votes. More votes keep showing up, and like, oh, it turns out the person you thought won didn't win after all. Too bad. The voters have spoken. And then it's
Right,
like
right, right.
that happens all the time in California, and it kind of made the national news this cycle because the House was so close. It usually isn't as close as that to where those California seats make a difference as far as who controls the House. This time it did. But can you imagine a national popular vote where it's it tends to be fairly close, even when the electoral college goes one way or the other. And can you imagine trying to find out who wins the presidency by, it's like, oh, this county here in California, we found another box of them. We gotta. on those two, and you're like, oh no, looks like that it would 100% happen. Um,
Yep.
and I don't want that to happen because that just sounds like a nightmare to me.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, any other news going on this week besides we literally got that was the only topic we talked about.
Well, that's
What about the whole go ahead, sorry.
what were we gonna say?
What about the whole Candace Owens, Brigitte Macron thing? Have you been following this?
So um, she's been harping on that for months now. So I'm kind of surprised that it's taken this long for people to say anything about it. Um, it's so out there that like you kind of want to think this is just crackpot stuff, but on the other hand, it's the kind of thing that sometimes
Dude,
turns out to be true.
and look,
So
you gotta just go watch the first episode. Just go watch the first episode and you tell me. Because it's out there, you know. And so basically the for anybody watching, the allegation is, and by the way, so Candace Owens is a former conservative black female. She used to be a student, and she came up during the whole like she came up. She was where I think she was working for what's that guy's name, Prager, and she
Mhm.
came up kind of through there, and the whole who's the other guy? Ben Shapiro's like what's his show called?
Not Turning Point.
That's
That's
Kirk.
Kirk.
All these
Uh,
conservatives, I don't know, I freaking lose track. Anyway,
oh gosh.
so he's a big one. He's got a whole network of
Mhm.
people on there that he owns now. But anyways, she came up through there, and then she started to get some non-homogenous views on Israel,
Yeah.
and
She became a critic of the government in the state of Israel. Yeah.
that's right. And so now she's been labeled as anti-Semite and everything else. So that don't mess with the Israel lobby. Just FYI, you want to get canceled, that's the way to do it. Anyway, so
Just
but she
for the record, if anyone's listening, we both love and support this.
that's right, that's right. That's oh my gosh. I love Jews. I love the Jews. They're
Yep.
great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're the best.
that's
They're
right.
the
They're
best.
the
In
best.
fact, I have more allegiance to them than to America.
Ah! What are you trying to be, Ted Cruz? Some of these conservatives, you're like, wait, what did you
No,
just
they say
say?
that. They say it.
What are you saying?
It's
This is nuts.
crazy. I love it.
Um,
It's like, why don't you move there? That's great.
so crazy, like just
Yeah.
nuts. Like, can you imagine like what a conservative would say if whatever her name is,
Dude,
Shalib or whatever? I have
dude,
more
it's
allegiance to Somalia than Michigan. I mean,
yeah,
like people would
it's
lose
the
their
same
mind.
when it's like when the conservatives get all outraged when they see a Cinco de Mayo parade and people waving the Mexican flag and they're like, if you love Mexico so much, why don't you go back? It's like
Right.
you know what?
If you love Israel so much, you can move there.
Why
Yeah.
don't you move there? Yeah.
I
You
hear they're
know,
doing some real nice renovations in
we're
Gaza right now.
we're Americans. American flag only. And also Texas because it's a republic. But anyway, go ahead.
Yeah. Yeah. There's going to be some nice beachfront property in Gaza before too long.
Maybe.
Anyways,
Yeah.
she is so there's a French reporter who's done like this exhaustive work and published a book and all this other stuff, basically alleging that Emmanuel Macron, who's the president of France, his wife, Brigitte, it was
Who,
already
by
kind
the
of
way, we all know and is public that they met while he was in high school. She was his teacher. They had an affair while he was underage. And then when he was old enough, she left her
and
husband.
we're not talking like 17 here. We're talking like he
No,
was
he's 14.
14,
Yeah.
14.
Yeah. But it's
And
France. And it's like,
yeah, yeah,
maybe he was
right,
just
right, right.
a lucky
But I mean,
guy,
but it was crazy enough to where his parents moved
Opera
him to
teacher.
different schools so that he could get away from this teacher.
Yep.
But
Yeah,
anyway,
they have a different culture there. In America, she would have gone to jail. Many of them do, but in France, not so much. So anyway, go ahead.
anyway, yeah. Nobody's here to judge anybody. It's just this is the story, right?
Yeah.
So
Well, this is
these
known.
facts, those
This
facts
is
are
this is fact.
undisputed, right?
Yeah.
But this French journalist published this book, basically alleging that she is a man, and this was her name, lived as this guy, and because at this date, all of a sudden, there's no more records of this guy, and before that date, there was no records of Brigitte Macron, and so not only that, but basically after Candace, I guess, read this guy's work, she decided to she's like, okay, well, we're gonna investigate this because she loves she's just a contrarian, And
Yeah.
that's one thing I really
It's
like.
like,
I don't
nobody likes this view. That's what we're gonna look into it.
that's what we're gonna go into. I mean,
Yeah.
she actually is even defending like Harvey Weinstein right now, like
Oh
trying
my
to get him
god.
retried. I mean, so she's just a contrarian. So like, I mean, it is what it is, you know.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but you know, I like some contrarian stuff. I like
Sure.
conspiracy stuff every now and then. So anyway,
Sure.
so she goes into this, and so basically she sent them a letter and said, look, okay, look, we're gonna do a show. This is what we've been told.
Okay.
Obviously, we don't want to go out here and put a bunch of fake stuff out there. So, can you answer these questions, right?
Okay.
Can you say that you were unequivocally born a woman? You know, do you have any proof of that these children that you claim are she raised three kids and whatever else, right? I said, okay, just send us any picture, one picture of you with one of your children being a mom, you know, at any point in your life, right? And they refuse basically to give her anything, and
Well, I
even
mean, obviously, don't isn't that what you would expect though?
I don't know. To
Like if
me, it's
someone
like,
came to me and was like, "Prove that you ever lived in Ohio," and it's like, "I
well,
want to see pictures."
I don't really. So the
I have
problem is,
pictures. I'm
well,
not
here's
giving
the
to
thing.
you.
Here's the thing, right? Like, so yeah, I take your point, right? So first of all, like, hey, it's none of your business, and who cares if you believe me or
Yeah.
not? You know, I could have grown up in Nebraska for all you know. Oh, you know, what am I, Manchurian candidate here? The problem is that they find it offensive. It's like
Okay.
they're the ones saying like, "Oh, you know," and I couldn't even believe they did this, but they filed a they filed different lawsuits against this guy, against anybody that would ever bring this up because it's been a kind of a persistent rumor. I guess this is the first guy that actually like brought the receipts and did all the investigation, but they didn't sue him for telling a lie. They sued him for bullying. And same thing with her. So they're suing her for libel and all this stuff. But like in America, it's like, dude, first of all, the truth is an absolute defense against libel. So like, okay, again,
However bad it is,
yeah,
if
look,
it's true, then I
I
support.
asked you for this information. You didn't give it to me. Even right now, like we could drop this whole thing if you just any of your let's say all your pictures were burned in a fire. Like, none of your kids have any pictures. Like literally, there's no picture of any. Like none of your even the kids that have come. I guess he's got a couple daughters, and like you know they could come out saying, "Oh, you know, this is really hurtful. I don't know why she just needs to stop." And it's like, okay, well, why don't you produce a picture of you with your mom, maybe high school, whatever. I mean, like literally, there's no documentation of anything that you guys can produce. And meanwhile, here are all the things that do not exist as far as we can tell, right? And so, hey, if you can
Hmm.
produce any of these things, then we would obviously like. I mean, who wants to be out here saying, you know? But I think it's kind of interesting. So
Hmm.
first of all,
It's weird.
the salaciousness of it is fascinating. But let's say you're even genuinely offended at the whole thing. Like, oh, I can't believe, you know, because she's been on different, you know, news shows or whatever, and you know, Jake Tapper, whoever, right? It is just dismantling her. Like, oh, you know, this is unbelievable. I can't. Why are you being so hurtful? Da, da, da. And she made a good point. She was like, well, wait, why is it hurtful? Okay, so she's a trans woman. Big deal. Why is that an insult?
Or
Why is that
or
hurtful? You know, like why
or
is
is
that
not, but like dresses in drag in order to protect the closeted gay nature of
whatever? Yeah,
his husband.
yeah. Whatever. So like, how is
Couldn't
that? I
how's
mean,
that
how is that offensive? Like, I mean, this is. I thought we were all about uh, tolerating
yeah,
everything. You know.
yeah. So what is the outrage here?
Uh,
Is he not allowed to be gay or
right. Well, exactly. So what's the either it's true or it's not true. If it's not true, say, hey, it's ridiculous. Of course, she's a woman, which is that's basically what they've been saying. You know,
okay.
no, we're not gonna produce any evidence of anything because it's beneath us, basically.
Yeah.
But it's not beneath them to like apparently like Macron personally asked Trump to like talk to because like, hey, don't you know Candace Owen? Can you ask her to stop talking about it? So even Trump then calls Candace and is like, hey, this is really weird, but gotta honor
Can
this
you
request.
not
But
do that?
and she's like, hold on, are you really saying that the president of France asked you to talk to me about, well, first of all, I'm going to do whatever I want to do and you can suck it. But secondly, I'm going to start reporting on that, which she did, you know,
Yeah,
and of
of
course,
course.
yeah. And then, so they
It's like
did the
now that's the
unthinkable.
story.
They did the unthinkable last week, which was to actually sue her
Huh.
in America. And she was like, and she's so funny.
That's
She's like, I
great.
can't.
That means that she gets discovery.
That's right. She goes, I can't believe they did this, but that's awesome. she goes, the move of most people. She goes, I think. She goes, I don't know. I think maybe they were in this place where, it's like if you don't do something, then you have to do something to. So okay, well let's sue her because
Mhm.
the correct move is to have a summary judgment dismissal, right? So you go into the
Right.
judge and you say, look, there's no evidence here, because first of all, they're suing her for libel and all this. First of all, there is no malice. I mean, I can disprove malice immediately just by here's the communication that we sent to them saying like we want to get to the bottom of it. Just provide us any of this and we'll table the whole thing. So
Public
we get
figures, which mean that's going to be very hard to
that's right.
prove
So
up.
well, malice is in order to prove it, you have to show a blatant disregard for the truth, right? So
Yeah.
like I mean, they're not going to be able to prove that. So she could very easily get the thing summary judgment and get it dismissed. But she's like, oh, we're not going to do that. We're going to acknowledge that they have a very good case, and we will be happy to give them all our discovery, and we would like some of theirs too. And so,
Yeah.
yeah,
Like, why would you open it up to something where they can compel the discovery?
I don't. That's a bizarre move, man. Clearly, there's something there that you don't want. I mean, because either you would have provided something, or you would have acknowledged, okay, yeah, so you
Maybe
know,
they think she's gonna settle out. Like they'll make her run out of money through the process.
that's never going to happen. Not because she has unlimited amounts of money, but there's so many people that like her fan base, the people that love her, like they'll continue donating money to that.
Yeah.
Like
Well, there's probably a fair number of law firms that would be like, "Can
we'll
we
take
take
it
this
pro
pro
bono. Yeah,
bono?
a
Like
hundred
this
percent,
sounds amazing."
100%. So anyway, and I'm the last person to really like give a take on a conspiracy theory. I generally find conspiracy theories pretty compelling. Like uh whether it was 9/11 or the moon landing or any of these other things. I don't have a position, but I do find like okay, that is kind of weird. I'd like somebody
Yeah.
to explain that to me, and I kind of just table that and leave it open. But hey, until I get a good answer on this one, I don't know how I can accept your version of the story here, guys. Um, so whether it's the
So
Warren Commission or
there's
anything else.
got to be, there has got to be more. Um, there's got to be more than just she's a man. Like,
Well, yeah, it is. So like, and again, I don't want to get into it on this, but like, just go watch the first episode and you'll see.
okay, there's
It's
just
it's
more insanity, huh?
yeah, it's the connections and stuff that she makes are just like, I mean, and I would be like just kind of laying them out there without any foundation, and it would sound just kind of nuts. But if you
Okay,
watch
all
it,
right,
it's you
I'll watch
you
it.
got a critical mind. You can tell me why it's completely full of crap.
I don't know. I don't know anything about it. I'll watch it for the info. All right. Well, I've got some homework to do then. I wish I had some good homework for you. Maybe once the semester starts, I'll be like, okay, you got to read this now, and we'll see what happens.
Well, I'm always down for it, dude, as long as I can get it on an audiobook.
Yeah, true. Like the people that like, I'll eat whatever you want as long as I can drink it.
That's right. That's right.
Drinking the
Yeah,
dinner.
that's right, man. Dude, I'm glad we got around to that. I feel like there's still so much on the table that we haven't discussed. I mean, like whether it's some of these moves by China, the EU trade deal that just went
Yeah.
through, um,
Jobs
you know,
numbers. There's all
jobs
sorts of stuff.
numbers, dude. Yeah, him firing the person who comes up with the numbers because
How could they be this wrong?
yeah.
You're incompetent.
Well, obviously she's no good at them because it's like, wait a minute, she was doing a good job when she was revising down Biden's numbers. So what's the problem now? But of course, the answer is like, why is it systemically over reporting on these numbers? Like, because that's clearly what's happening. So whether it's under Biden or Trump or whatever, the initial numbers come out, and then there's always a down. It's never an upward revision. It's always
Yeah.
a downward, sometimes drastically downward revision. So
Makes you think that those numbers are propaganda.
yeah, and again, more proof that we're all in a simulation. So I'll just leave it right there for
Or
you.
dystopia, an information dystopia. We're
Yeah,
in
just
we're
this.
in a we're in a hedonistic utopia. Like I, I have access to all the music ever recorded. I can just hit play on anything.
Yeah,
Right? I have all
yeah,
these different types of food, all these different flavors. I live in a beautiful home. Like it's like hedonistically we're in a utopia, but as far as information, it's a dystopia.
That's interesting.
So
Yeah, bread and circuses, man.
there you go.
Yeah. All right, fellas. Thanks for being on here, and we will see you all next week.
Next week.